Let's talk about sex, baby. So I got a question from a client. We're going to keep this anonymous. She's been with her husband for the past 25 years, but has not had an orgasm in the past 20 years. Now, of course, she's been distracted with the kids and the career and, the acquiring of the white picket fence. And now she's faced with this reality. She loves this man, but she does not get off with this man. And she wants to change that. She's been on a healthy eating plan for the past year and a half, so she has more energy than she ever thought possible. And she's been on HRT for the past 6 months. So she's really starting to get back that loving feeling. And this challenge has become very apparent to her. Now, I don't believe in victimhood. We have to take personal responsibility for our own pleasure. So what I'm going to say is you have to learn a thing or two about your own body so that you can communicate that with your partner. Now, the thing about the man is they have different parts than you. They don't know what they don't know, but they do get off on providing you pleasure. Assuming you have a healthy adult relationship, and I know you do, you haven't mentioned anything about this in a long time. So he probably thinks he's been doing a pretty damn good job for a long time. And you're about to break the news to him that he's just not doing it for you. That's going to sting, possibly. So give him some space to take it all in. But at the end of the day, this is an opportunity for you guys to grow closer together. And if not, that's something you need to know too. So this is a beautiful thing. I know it's a vulnerable thing, but it's a beautiful thing. Here's the thing. Sex ed in this country, assuming you had it, or just sort of the culture at large has done us a disservice, because when we learn about sex, what do we learn? We learn penis in the vagina makes a baby. All right. Reality is 70% of women do not achieve orgasm with intercourse. 70% of women achieve orgasm externally. It's not to say that you can't learn how to work together to achieve an orgasm via intercourse. And some of the things I'll talk about today can help you with that. But that's important to be able to know and to communicate. And there's some things we can do. So let's talk about supplementation first. What do we need to experience pleasure? Well, your vulva, and I prefer talking about the vulva, not just the vagina, because the vagina is one small aspect of all of your juicy parts. Okay. So you've got the vulva, you've got the clitoris, you've got the vagina, you have the G-spot that sits on top of that, and you got the perineum on the bottom, and that's all erectile tissue. The clitoris is actually an inverted penis. Just like a penis needs to become erect with blood, so do you. Now, how do we do that? A supplement I recommend: as you get older, blood flow becomes more and more restricted. So you need to intervene to protect that. A supplement that's been utilized effectively for not only erectile dysfunction in men, but to help women with blood flow is L-citrulline. So you want to take about 5 to 6 grams of that per day. I recommend that for both men and women. Now let's talk about how we encourage blood flow to all of our juicy parts. So when we have the vulva, and I'll stick a picture up here. I'm going to stick a picture up of the clitoris specifically, since there's so much opportunity with the clitoris. But when it comes to the vulva, we've got the mons, okay? We have the outer labia, we have the inner labia. Underneath is the clitoris, which, as I said before, is like an inverted penis, in that it works in the same way. You only see the gland when it comes to the clitoris, but it's so much more than that. All of it is erectile tissue that needs to be engorged with blood. So you've got the gland, you have the shaft, you have the legs, and you have the arms. But we want to provide, prior to jumping into intercourse, you need to apply pressure to all of these areas. Again, when you're applying that pressure in a positive way, be gentle or be rough. It depends on you. What do you like? I don't know. But you want to do that to bring more blood to these parts. And I don't recommend starting with these parts. Okay. Relaxation. Relaxation is actually key to reaching full orgasmic potential. And that's not to say that there aren't some women that can go from 0 to 90 just like their man. But the reality is, you probably aren't getting full engorgement when you do that when you're in a rush. Now, that's fun too. I enjoy that myself. Like, I enjoy the quickie and I enjoy the lovemaking. I enjoy it all. But if you truly want to reach full orgasmic potential, relaxation is really important. And here's the paradox: you cannot have the goal of orgasm or intercourse and truly reach a state of relaxation. There shouldn't be a place of getting there. So communicate to your man that things like holding you in his strong arms and allowing you to talk about your day and listening could lead to get good things, but you can't focus on that because that will interfere with your ability to just truly relax. Our body is filled with erogenous zones, our neck, our butt. I'm not talking about anal. Get your head out of the gutter if you're not into anal. We're not going to have that discussion today. But the butt is an erogenous zone, okay? Obviously, the breast for some. Maybe I shouldn't say obvious because it's not everybody. The nipples, the stomach, everywhere. For some people, the feet. Everywhere is open possibility. So you don't want to jump right in for the jugular, just caressing, touching, being loving with one another is really, really important. There's something called a Yoni massage. Just like I said prior, you can't have the goal of intercourse. But here's the thing, dudes. If you're willing to do this, the paradox is that you're going to net more intercourse over time because it just kind of naturally evolves. But the Yoni massage involves starting from sort of the outside. So we're talking about, the neck, the arms, the shoulder, the hands, okay, the feet, starting from the outside and working your way to the vulva. And then when we get down to the vulva, we're massaging the vulva. We're massaging all aspects of the vulva. Like I said, the mounds, the outer labia, the inner labia. You want to apply gentle pressure to all these areas. And again, what you're doing is you're bringing more blood flow. You're allowing everything to get fully engorged. And when everything gets fully engorged, you reach a heightened state of sensitivity. And man, can you have intense orgasms with this. So I encourage you to look up Susan Bratton. She's a sex expert. And I don't think anybody breaks down the Yoni massage quite like her. Some people can take it too far into the woo-woo spiritual realm because it is a tantric love practice, but it doesn't have to be complicated. It's not complicated. So she breaks it down kindergarten style in a way that anybody can do this and benefit from it. So just remember that many times men are playing the end game by jumping immediately to intercourse when the woman's not even on the ball field yet. And you've got to communicate that. There's some work that needs to take place. You are like that English muffin. You take the English muffin out, you got to put it in the toaster. Then you put the cold butter on the English muffin, and then you got to let that butter melt into all those little nooks and crannies. But man, once you do that, you're in for a good time. So let's assume that we're at intercourse now. What are some things we need to know about this? Well, lubrication can be helpful, obviously, maybe not so obviously, but if you're going to use a lube, keep it natural because your vagina has its own microbiome, just like the gut, and you don't want to disrupt that. So an organic coconut oil, MCT oil, avocado oil, sometimes there's a blend of those two, can be really nice. Try out a bunch, see what you like. All right, ladies. So let's assume that you've been revved up, like your English muffin is saturated with butter, and you are ready for intercourse. While I can't get into all the techniques available to you, I'm going to get into one specifically. And hold your judgment, because this does involve doggy style, but not in the way that you've probably done it in the past. Doggy style can be very direct and uncomfortable for many women. So here is how to make it enjoyable. Again, your job is to communicate this to your man. The nervous system likes variety, especially when it comes to intercourse. Now, that might not be the case when it comes to just stimulating the clitoris, where less variety can be more. But when it comes to intercourse, I recommend this technique. So I want you to get into the doggy style position, and I want you to surrender. This is a very vulnerable position. Only do this with somebody that loves you and respects you. But you have to surrender and allow your man to take over here. So his job is to take you by the hips and just gently pull you on and off his penis, on and off, varying the speeds at which he is doing this. And it's your job to communicate what feels good and what doesn't feel good along the way. Now, if you really want to get advanced, he can start rocking you. But again, your job is to stay there and surrender. You have to allow. But he can rock you, because that way his penis is starting to hit all those areas of the vulva that we spoke about, engorging all of those areas, ensuring all of those areas remain engorged with blood, increasing your odds of an orgasm that you never thought was possible. But it is. It really is. And let's assume that you're new to this, and I know you are, so you might not get to orgasm, but you'll probably be on your way with that alone. How can we honor the fact that most women do not experience orgasm? Through intercourse. They do it through external stimulation. So the clitoris, this is where bringing in a vibrator. I'm going to recommend a sex ring. Don't be intimidated. This sex ring is fantastic because it has a vibrator on the outside and the inside. So it's stimulating you and him at the same time. So this is an excellent toy. It's called the NOS vibrating cock ring, and I highly, highly recommend it. These are vulnerable things. These are tough conversations to have. But it's kind of like Brene Brown says, you can't numb feelings that you don't want to feel without numbing all the beautiful things that life has to offer. So I think these conversations are really important. At the end of the day, we are wired for love and connection. And there's no more beautiful way, in my opinion, to connect with another human being than through intimacy. And that's what this is. And if you have any questions, or if you're struggling with all those other menopausal issues that can come along with this territory, please reach out, ask the questions. I'm sure other people have the questions that you do. So know that you're not alone. And I will be happy to do a video on anything. Nothing is off the table for me. Have a great day, folks. And